welcome to episode 38 of the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. My name is Jacqueline. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, basically everywhere as @JacquelineSalem. Show notes for this podcast can be found in the Brooklyn Knitfolk Ravelry group on Ravelry. And this is a podcast about general making, usually knitting and sewing, but whatever other kind of crafty things I get up to. I hope you guys have had a really great couple of weeks. I just came back from visiting my family in Nashville and in Knoxville. I'm so excited, but my K's seriously have not left my side since I've been home when I got home last night. They literally slept on top of me, both of them. I have two. This is Mika and the other one's Jafar. They literally slept on top of me all night long. So none of us got that much sleep last night, honestly, but I think they had some separation anxiety, my poor babies. I love them so much, though. Oh, are you trying to get away now? What? What? You don't like being on camera? Anyway, I do have a fan on. I hope it's not going to be too distracting or that you can't hear the noise in the background, but quite honestly, it's just too hot to be trying to podcast or doing anything really in my apartment without some sort of airflow going, so I do apologize if you can hear that. So I'll hopefully try to minimize that in editing if it's too loud. Congratulations to the winners of the previous giveaway, the Hub City Fibers yarn. I've notified you on Ravelry, and I also want to apologize for being late on getting out the Cocoa Craft project bags from the last giveaway. If you don't already know, I've been in touch with them, but there was some crazy security breaching that got into the Ukrainian government and a few other large businesses in the world, and mine happened to be one affected by it. So that was a crazy debacle at work, and then that combined with trying to leave to go home to Nashville for vacation. It was just a lot to deal with. So sorry about those packages that I have not gotten out to the two winners from the previous weeks. But I will get all the prizes out sometime this week for sure. I just wanted to notify you that we now have a new giveaway up for grabs. This is the project bag made by Hannalisa Hefferkamp. Here's her tag. Oh, upside down. Here's her tag. She has the Hannah on the Road podcast, and she's also Hannah on the Road on Instagram. I'll put all of her information in the show notes for you. But this project bag is amazing. I have one myself, and I love it. I use it for my sock project in my bag. It's just super well made. It's got this kind of tan leather zipper pull, a rose gold zip, this kind of herringbone tweedish fabric, and then natural on the inside, a pocket, this clip on the D-ring here. It's just amazing. So I could not recommend this bag and her bags highly enough. This is going to be the giveaway that's up for grabs for the next 2 weeks until I record the next episode. If you know me, you know that I usually have a prompt, name 3 good things that have happened to you in the past 24 hours. That's almost always the prompt that I use. But this prize, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I have a lot of ideas for ways that I want to make the Brooklyn Knitfolk YouTube channel better and more exciting for you guys, but I kind of need some qualitative information. So selfishly, the prompt I'm going to use for this giveaway on Ravelry is, what are things that you guys would like to see more of on the podcast? I'll be more specific in the question, word it better in the Ravelry group, but that's basically what I want to know, is what kinds of things, if sky was the limit, what things do you want to learn? What things do you think I would be really good at teaching you? What things do you want to see more of, etc., etc.? So that's really what I want to know from you guys about this giveaway entry. So here's the project bag again. I love this project bag, and you can enter to win that on Ravelry. Alright, let's jump right in. I'm not going to show you every single work in progress that I have right now, just because I didn't work on most of them while I was away. I only brought my sweater project and my granny stripe project and a sock project with me, and it wasn't the sock project that I was working on, which was there's that Coffee and that Nebula colorway by Sweet Sparrow Yarns. That's kind of my subway commute knitting. So I brought something new. So basically all I'm going to say is I brought 2 projects to show you, 3 if you count seeing my granny stripe blanket in the background, but I'm not going to go over that at all. I'm just have it here because I like it there. So I'm only going to show you my sweater and one other project. Unfortunately, I did not finish the sweater. I really thought I was going to have time to finish it, but I guess I had more knitting on it than I thought I had to do left, but I really am getting close to finishing it, so I'm just working away on it because I cannot wait to have it done and for it to be one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. And I say Rhinebeck sweaters, plural, because I already have finished another sweater, and I'm going to be there for all 3 days at Rhinebeck this year. Friday for India Entangled, the Saturday, and the Sunday. So ideally, my goal is to have one sweater for each day that I am there, as well as an entirely handmade outfit. I'm not sure if that's crazy. I've got 2 out of the 3 sweaters finished, so really I need 3 outfits and a sweater. I feel like that's doable by Rhinebeck, especially with the KAL that I'm hosting upcoming in August. I'll get to that in a little bit, which I talked about last episode, but anyway. So without further ado, the sweater project. So if you don't know already, this is the Laurel cardigan, and it's a pattern by Amy Christoffers. She's Savory Knitting on Instagram. And I've made a huge dent in it. It's looking very sweater-like right now. In fact, I could just go ahead and try it on to show you. So there were a few knitting debacles with this. Whew, I can't keep this on very long. It is warm in here. I accidentally, so if you haven't seen already, this sweater is knit in pieces, sort of. So you knit the sleeve and one side of it flat, and then you knit the other side and the sleeve up and to the side flat. Here, I'll take it off so I can show you better. So everything up to the center seam that you see here was knit flat. And then you seam up the arms, you seam up the sides, and then you seam up the center back. I learned how to do a 3-needle bind off for the first time, which was really cool, but I accidentally did a 3-needle bind off up the front of the cardigan instead of the back. So that was a challenge because I had to rip out all of the 3-needle bind off that I did and very slowly and carefully pick up the stitches along both sides of the cardigan. Luckily this yarn is very rustic and super sticky, so it was pretty easy relatively to pick up those stitches, but I was just going slow and steady. It was fine in the end. It took a good, I don't know, 20 minutes or so to do it, but obviously it had to be done. So now that I've seamed up everything, I pick up the stitches along the bottom of the cable and knit down for the length of the sweater. It's getting to be a length that I really like. However, I really want to try to use up as much of the yarn as I possibly can. So right now I have about three full skeins. I say skeins is kind of a loose term because it's hand spun yarn and they're about 80 to 90 yards in each of the skeins, and then these 2 balls left that I'm alternating between right now for adding the length of the body. So beyond adding the length to the sweater, I also have to pick up these, well not really pick up, they're live stitches that are kind of being held right now on this waste yarn. So I need to get these live stitches on the needles all the way around the collar and knit it inwards so that it covers. I'm wrapping myself in. Okay. So kind of pick up these live stitches that are right here and then knit it inwards because the cardigan really should go all the way over. So from there, all I really want to do after knitting the length and knitting this in is an I-cord bind off around the entire edge of it. And then I also kind of want to do an I-cord edge on the sleeves here. I just want everything to have an I-cord edge. The I-cord edge is not written into the pattern for the bottom of the sleeves. I can't remember if it's written into the pattern for around the button band or collar, if you will. There aren't buttons that are supposed to be on this sweater. But I'm thinking about adding toggles to it. I don't know. We'll see. So toggles is what I want, an I-cord bind off, and then an I-cord bind off on the sleeves. and the bottom. So I'm getting pretty close to what I want for the length of this sweater. I'm really excited to have this off the needles. It is so soft and so warm. It's an entirely seed stitch garment, so it has been a labor of love, but everything about it has been super enjoyable. I've loved working on it. Every time I pick it up, I just love it even more. The yarn is just super special. Look how beautiful it is. Completely natural undyed yarn. It's BFL, a 2-ply, hand spun by the nuns at St. Mary's on the Hill. And that's a farm in Washington County in upstate New York that I got at the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour. So I'm really looking forward to having this sweater. Everyone who's seen it can attest to its beauty, if I do say so myself. It makes me so happy. It's just such an heirloom piece. And if you didn't know already, this cable that's in here is not the original cable that goes in the pattern. The pattern as it's written has a horseshoe cable in it that I just really do not like, so I substituted it for a different cable that I found on knittingfool.com. And funnily enough, the cable is called the Ensign braid cable, and another farm on the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour is the Ensign Brook farm. So I just kind of liked that extra added meaning there. It wasn't necessarily intentional, but I do like that this is the Ensign braid cable and it's a neighboring farm to where I got this particular yarn. So that's the Laurel cardigan, again a pattern by Amy Christoffers, and I hope to finish that by the next episode. So we'll see. And then I really need to pick out the next sweater because I already know what yarn I want to use for it, but I haven't picked out which pattern I want to do yet. So that kind of brings me into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the Hipster KAL. I'm so excited with your enthusiasm for this KAL. I cannot wait. You guys seem super pumped about it. I am too. If you don't know what it is, the Brooklyn Knitfolk Hipster KAL is sort of my response to all of the crazy fades madness that's going on. I think that finished objects are beautiful. I would love to knit maybe a faded garment sometime in the future, but right now it's just taking over my Instagram and I just cannot handle seeing another fade in my feed, especially all of the yarn dyeing kits. It's just, anyway, I've already been on this spiel. There's no need for me to get into it again, so I will not go down that road again. But the Hipster KAL is basically a rebuttal against all these fades that I'm seeing in my feed, and the way to get involved is to pick out a pattern on Ravelry that has 30 or less projects already logged on Ravelry. Some of you have had some questions about, like, well, what if it goes over 30 before the start of the KAL? That's totally okay, as long as you are chatting about it in the Ravelry thread saying you're thinking about knitting this and it currently has this many projects that's under 30, totally fine by me, because I can, verify that in the threads, because I've generally been in there every single day to respond to everybody. I've not been in there for the past couple days because of craziness with my trip, but now that I'm back in New York City, I will definitely be in there every single day chatting with you guys about the projects you're picking out. I do warn you, this thread is dangerous for your queue. If you have any interest in looking at the patterns that other people are selecting, because if you think about it, these are the patterns that we've had in our queues for forever. Like, we do some major digging on Ravelry to find the best of the best, the patterns that really make our hearts sing. So really every pattern that's being posted in the Ravelry thread right now is like the culmination of all this work that we've done already digging on Ravelry for the best patterns. So just be warned, if you look through that thread, or at least for me, I've added at least 10 things to my queue since looking through that thread. So it's super inspirational. The KAL starts on August 1st and will go through the end of October. So it's perfect for those large projects, especially because we're going into festival season soon. I love how many of you, I'd say the vast majority of people, are looking at large shawls and sweater projects. It's the perfect time to cast it on because then you can have it ready for Rhinebeck or whatever festival is local to you. So I highly recommend getting involved in that thread, looking through the projects, picking out your own, choosing your yarns, and you do get an extra entry to win prizes in the FO thread if you use a yarn that you have not used before. So that's a kind of added, you know, we're all trying to discover new things and try new things, and I just cannot wait to see the projects that you guys are making. I'm already super excited about it. So as for my own project, I was going to knit the Ohra shawl. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It's O-H-R-A, and the designer is Caitlin Hunter. I'll put in a picture of it for you guys to look at. However, the pattern has gone over 30 projects. It was under 25 when I was thinking about starting this KAL, and now it's at like 40 something. But just as, you know, far as something I'm thinking about, I love the color choices that Caitlin used in the sample for the Ohra shawl. It was knit in Olan yarns, which I did buy a skein of, if you may recall a few episodes back. But these are the colorways in my stash that I think kind of more accurately follow the colorways that she used in her sample, and I love it. This is Madeline Tosh in the Optic colorway. It's a singles base, fingering weight. I believe that's 100% merino. Yep, 100% superwash merino, and I love this colorway. This is one of my all-time favorite colorways. I have used Madeline Tosh before, however, I have not used Tuscan knits before, although I have a few skeins in my stash, and they're just so pretty. I just don't know what to make with them, but I think that this would be perfect in an Ohra shawl. So this is Tuscan Knits in her Cabin Fingering base, which is an 80-10-10 superwash merino nylon cashmere, and this is the Bell Star colorway, and it's like a mauvey color, mauvey brown, blush pink, and it has these gorgeous speckles in it, and I think that would make the most beautiful Ohra shawl. However, as I mentioned, it's already over 30 projects, which again is fine if you guys are chatting about it. Like I said, you're good as long as you're under 30 and you're talking about it right now, totally fine with me. The other thing though is that I really want my third Rhinebeck sweater, so I'm thinking it might be a waste of my time to knit this shawl, although I do really want it, when I could be knitting a sweater for my third Rhinebeck sweater. We'll see. I really am in a sweater mood these days, so I feel like a sweater is probably what I'll end up going toward, but I don't know, I really love this shawl too. It's kind of unlike things I normally go for. It's very bohemian in a way, and I mean, I do like some things that have a bohemian flair. I guess I appreciate the bohemian style on other people and others' interiors for bohemian style, but it's not what I necessarily gravitate toward purchasing for myself. I just like to admire it from afar. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say weird, but a little bit out of my norm, this particular design, and I don't know, something about it really spoke to me, so we'll see. I'm not exactly sure what I will cast on. I'm not eligible to win prizes anyway, so I'm not super concerned that it's got 40-something projects at the moment, but that's the yarns I'm thinking, so I'll keep you posted on what I pick, but please go get involved with the Hipster KAL. The hashtag for anything you post to Instagram is hashtag BKHipsterKAL, and yeah, crochet projects 100% allowed. The only thing I'm discouraging against are any kind of miniatures, so no ornaments, no kid socks, even like kids kind of attire, I'd rather not. I'm not gonna like say no. I mean, if you knit a bunch of them or something, sure, but I'd rather, since it's a 3-month KAL, that you guys make projects that are a little bit more substantial in size to be eligible for prizes. And if we can't, if it's something you really want to make, then maybe I'll come up with some sort of system for extra entries for people who knit like large, like a sweater versus knitting, you know, like a cowl or something like that. I'm not thought that far ahead about it. I'm generally not very strict when it comes to KALs anyway, so we'll see. Alright, so that's that. And then the last knitting project that I would like to show you is a new cast on. So you may recall that I bought some minis from Knox Yarn Co., and it was a Penny Dreadful inspired set. I've never seen Penny Dreadful before, but I loved the colors in this set. They're a bunch of kind of neutrals, blushes kind of colors, totally up my alley. I'll show you now. Here's some of them. More. This gorgeous cranberry purpley color. Oh, I love that. This one kind of reminds me of like campfire, camping, foresty kind of colors, very autumnal. And then, let's see. And then these two. This one right here, love that. Reminds me of like a barn owl color. And then this one. So she, along with those minis that I ordered, she sent me a full skein of her Bifrost colorway on her MCN base. This is so soft. Her MCN base is incredible. I highly, highly recommend it. It's even got a bit of a halo to it. I'm not sure if that's going to come off on the screen, but it's gorgeous. So I could not resist putting a lot of this into my Cozy Memories blanket. It just like called out to go into it. But the purpose of these was to make Scrappy socks. So I'm trying to get both out of it. They were only 10 gram minis and there were only 7 of them. And I put some into my blanket. I'm not really an ankle socks, shorty socks kind of person. So what I decided to do, since she sent me this full skein as a gift, was that I would use this full skein, the Bifrost colorway, for heels, cuffs, and toes, and the foot of the sock, and then use all of the minis that she sent to stripe the leg. And that's what I've done. So we have Bifrost up here. Apologize, I don't know the name. She put the names with the mini skein set for all of them, but she didn't like label exactly which one was which, so I don't really have any idea of knowing which one is which. But as far as colorway names at least. Oh, I just love these. I love them so much. This is the Socks on a Plane pattern by Laurel. It's my favorite vanilla-ish, not vanilla sock pattern. It's super, super simple. Just got a very small cable that kind of runs down the side of the foot. Or not the side, kind of the front side of the foot. So, and it helps me keep track of how many rows I've done, so I don't have to count rows physically on the sock itself. I can just count repeats of the cable. I'm doing 2 cable repeats per color. So it's very easy to keep track of when I need to change to the next color. So I'm finished now with all the striping. I'm just about to start the Fish Lips Kiss heel with the Bifrost colorway, and then all of the foot will be knit in this. I'm thinking about doing a contrasting toe with a mini of Cheering Charm that I have. I knit a pair of socks in the Cheering Charm colorway back in January, and at first I didn't think I was going to put it in here because it doesn't really go with these colors, and it's kind of similar to this colorway. I'm still not sure, jury's still out. I'm thinking about doing a contrasting toe though. That's what I'd really like to do. But I'm not going to do it if I'm not doing it in a Knox yarn colorway, because I want this entire sock to be out of Knox yarn. So she is very hot dyer at the moment. It can be difficult to get some of her yarn. You have to catch it. One of those you have to catch right at the update because it's very, very popular. And I did order another mini skein set of hers. She did a pastel mini set, and I cannot wait to get that. I ordered that last week, so that should be here any day now. So yeah, that's my sock. Kind of a la Little Bobbins and It's Danny from Little Bobbins podcast. It is a wonderful podcast. I rewatch her episodes a lot just because I just love watching her podcast. She knits these kind of scrappy socks fairly frequently. I know she's done some with Molly of a Homespun House, and I feel like she's done it at least 2 other times with other dyers. So I just love the concept. There are tons of ends to weave in here, but I sort of make it easy on myself by every time I switch to a new color. You can kind of see it right here. I hold the stitches of both yarns double for about 4 stitches and then use only the new color that I'm about to stripe. So they're kind of already woven in. I just kind of weave in maybe 2 extra stitches in a different direction to keep it from going anywhere, and then snip it. So it's not as involved as maybe other people might be with weaving in their ends, and it doesn't really add a whole lot of bulk to the stitches, really. I feel like you can't really even tell once they're on and blocked. So I do have to say, because this color is so dark right here, this kind of red cranberry color, I'm a little nervous about it bleeding. I've never had any problems with Knox yarn that I've used in the past bleeding, but I know that dark reds and navies like this are notorious for it. So I'm considering buying a color catcher when I block these socks for the first time, just in case there's any bleeding, because as you can see, it's surrounded by yarns that are lighter. I tried to alternate the lighter and the dark color, so light, dark, etc. So if it bleeds, it's going to bleed into a lighter color. Like I said, I've never had any problems with bleeding with Knox yarn in the past. I just kind of want to avoid it before it even is a possibility if I could. So that's what I'm thinking about, buying a color catcher. So those are my Scrappy socks. Loving this project. And that's all the knitting whips I'm going to show you guys today. Like I said, I do have other ones, but they've only got maybe a couple extra rows on it, nothing different from what you saw in the last episode. Alright, the next thing I want to show you, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. The next thing I want to show you are a couple sewing acquisitions. I have no sewing projects to show you, because again, I was out of town, no sewing machine access. And it is some fabric. You may have seen, I don't know, I feel like it's all over the internet. It's a trend that's coming back. Gingham, y'all. I am into it. I am so into this gingham trend that's happening right now. And I saw this at Hobby Lobby and couldn't resist. It is made for apparel, so it's an apparel fabric. I don't really know what, it doesn't say, what the actual fabric is. That's something, like I said, I'm a very new garment sewist. I've been sewing for way longer than I've been knitting, since single digits age, but it was with quilting cottons making quilts. So I really have very little knowledge about apparel fabrics, I guess. But it's this kind of navy gingham check, a large gingham, about an inch, I guess, in height. And what I would like to do with this, they only had about 1.5 yards, so that's what I got. I got everything they had. That's not enough to make a skirt for me, unfortunately, so what I'm going to do is make a top out of it. And I brought this right here to kind of show as inspiration. This is a top I got from Target. What I would like to do is make something similar to this that's got kind of like a open back, maybe even a halter top, and then a seam up the center, and it's kind of got this like peekaboo lace detailing, I guess, in the center here, and then ruffled detail on the sleeves. So I basically just kind of want to recreate this top in this fabric. I don't have a pattern for this. I did go to Joann's searching for them, but I couldn't find one. So what I think I may do is just try to hack patterns that I have in my stash, cut up the center, like split it, the pattern piece for the front into two, and then add kind of like this lace detail. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I'll just hack patterns and chop up things until I figure it out and make up my own thing. But yeah, love this top. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for this gingham fabric. And then the other fabric I got is this stripe. It is not stretchy. I mean, it's got some give to it, but it's not a knits fabric, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It kind of looks like chambray-ish, but it's a woven. I love this. I have so many inspiration dresses on Pinterest. I have a board on Pinterest called Clothes to Make Myself, and it's just a bunch of ready-to-wear clothing that I see that I just love and would love to recreate for myself in some way. So I have a lot of striped dresses. This will definitely be one of my 3 Rhinebeck dress outfits. So I'm not sure which one it'll be. I'll pop some photos on the screen here so you can kind of see different things that I'm thinking of for the striped fabric. One of them would definitely, a contender is the Rosie dress by Sew Over It. I bought 4 yards of this, so I'm not quite sure if I have enough to make a rosy dress. I don't know how much it calls for, but I could potentially alter the skirt to not be full circle if it is full circle or something like that. So we'll see. But the rosy dress is what I'm thinking of. And there are a few other options that I'll pop up here on the screen that I'm thinking of to use with this striped fabric. So here's another shot of it. And this is made by Brother Sister Design Studio fabric. Alright, the last thing I want to show you is just a small acquisition, nothing too crazy this episode. I did order those minis from Knox Yarn Co., but they have not come in yet, so I can't show them to you. But I do have, I'm so excited about this. In fact, let me get, where's my purse? Hold on, 1 second. Okay, so if you've been following the podcast for a while, or especially if you have known me in real life, have seen me in real life, you know that my signature is this pink puff on whatever purse I'm wearing. I literally, like, this is the last purse I was using. I know, right? Isn't this so cute? It's beyond ridiculous, but I needed it. Anyway, this was the last purse I was using before I went home to Nashville. I did not take the puff home with me to Nashville, but whatever purse I'm using, I transfer the pink puff over to that purse. It's just like my signature item. So when I saw that Beverly of Tilting Planet Etsy shop had these pink puff stitch markers, I obviously had to get one. Ooh. Look at this. Look at this pink puff. It is perfection. I can't. I feel like it has to go on every single whip that I'm using. I feel like I may even need more than one. Just because, like I said, my pink puff is my signature on my purse. It has to be my signature, definitely at least on whatever on-the-go project I'm working on, because I think that would be hilarious if I'm like pulling out my project on the subway with this pink puff on it, and then my purse that it's coming from also has this pink puff on it. Whatever. I'm ridiculous. I know how silly I sound when I say it, but it just makes me so happy. So I am just so excited that Beverly was selling these in her shop, because obviously I needed it. That shop is Tilting Planet. And along with this Progress Keeper that I got, she was so kind and sent me these moon rocks, some minis. Look how pretty they are. These will be perfect for my blanket. Exactly the colors I use. Neutrals, pastels, and then pops of neon. There's not really any neons in this, but these are like the neutral pastel range for sure. So her shop is called Tilting Planet. I cannot wait to buy more of her yarn. I just love being able to like use these little candies basically to kind of get a feel for it before I decide on what colorway of hers I'd like to invest in. But yes, Tilting Planet is her shop. It's Beverly, and I'm super, super excited about these minis and my Progress Keeper. So that's it for today's episode, you guys. It's kind of a shorter one. Don't forget, enter on Ravelry to win this project bag. And again, the prompt is different from the usual one. Like I said, I just want to hear more about things you guys are really interested in, things you want to learn, things that you would like to see more of on this podcast, etc. So while I'm kind of planning for what the future of Brooklyn Knitfolk could be, I just want to get your input and make sure that we're kind of like thinking the same thing, basically. So thank you so much for watching. I love you all. I hope you have a great couple weeks of crafting and wonderful summers. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm closing it out, but I forgot there's one major thing. I don't know what it is being on this side of 4th of July, but all I can think about right now is fall and like autumn and having the most epic autumn fall ever. I just feel so inspired right now about all the fall things, and all I can think about is fall stuff and doing the most fall, New York fall that I can possibly have. So I have a lot of ideas about vlogging that I want to do coming up and stuff like that. So again, these are all things that are just like churning through my head, but yeah, I'm just super excited about fall. But I'm trying to enjoy summer while I still can. I do love summer, but all I can think about is fall recently. So anyway, hope you guys are enjoying the seasons, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! Mwah! See ya!